Hi everybody, it's Dr. Leslie Blevins with Enilda Clinic, and today I'm going to take a break from my expert chats in order to talk about the start of school this fall. Specifically, what I want to talk about is making new changes that you might not have been able to figure out quickly enough last spring so that your family feels better. They feel calmer, your kids are more engaged in school, you can get through the work that you're trying to do at home, and everybody's happier. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the Finnish school system. They are one of the top school systems in the world, and I've just kind of fallen in love with their whole practice, their whole setup. The system is just amazing. They kind of do it very differently from the US specifically, where the teachers are trained to a master's degree through an apprenticeship program, and so there's a lot of feedback to the teachers throughout, so they're really building in lots of specific concrete skills to do with the children. And then they have very little standardized testing, which I think is probably a big influence on us here in the US and how our kids' days are structured at school. And so there are little things like that. But one of the biggest changes that I want to share with you is that the kids get a 15-minute recess every hour of the day. That probably sounds insane, and like we could never do that here. And to be fair, it could be those other systemic foundations that are just really helping the school system to be able to get in 15-minute recesses. But what they're learning, the teachers are learning, is that every time they take that 45 minutes of instruction, pause it, go outside for 15 minutes, let the kids run out their energy, let them get some creative play in, whatever it might be. Whenever the kids come back in, they're much better able to refocus on their schoolwork. That is so important. I would say that the one thing that we can say improves mental health and functioning across every single mental health disorder or stress related situation is physical exercise, especially for children. Children these days are expected to sit for maybe between 6 and 8 hours all day at school, and now we're in the pandemic and many schools are doing some sort of altered opening where they might only be going to the school building one day a week, and the rest of the time they're doing things at home. And I know lots of parents are like, gosh, this was really hard last spring. What I'm really hoping for you guys is to maybe take away some strategies that the Finnish are using that helps their students to really learn so much and actually decrease the stress on their children, and that's using physical activity. So you might not have total control of the schedule. There might be meetings that your kid has to attend so that they have live in-person chats with the teacher. But the big way that I think that this could be helpful is anticipating those very foundational biological needs that your child has and that you have as a parent. And then also just the system of the family in general. One of the big concerns that I get from families is that, hi everyone, I just want to interrupt real quick and ask you to subscribe to our learning newsletter. You can do so at enildaclinic.com, right on the right side where you're watching this video, or at YouTube by hitting the subscribe button. At this point, everybody's around each other all the time inside the house, and it's really hard to find ways to take a break, especially if you don't have another support system nearby, like a close family you're friends with or grandparents or something like that, that you feel comfortable letting everybody mingle right now during the pandemic. And so what I would say is that the big way that you can add in physical activity is to start with a biological schedule. What do your children need to be functioning their best? What do you need to be functioning your best? How many hours of sleep is that? The way that we generally think of knowing how many hours of sleep somebody typically needs is whenever they are allowed to go to bed and not get up until they naturally get up. Now, granted, if you have been sacrificing sleep for months and months, if you sleep in, you might sleep in for hours and hours longer than normal, but this is after your body acclimates and it has this healthy rhythm of waking and doing your daily activities and then falling back asleep and then staying asleep until you've had sufficient sleep so that you can regulate your emotions, you can manage your attention, you can process learned information. Sleep is so important to processing learned information. I think one of the unintended side effects of the pandemic is that many families are seeing that there's so much more flexibility to their school schedules. So something you might try is just accommodating sleep, especially for the teenagers out there, and just starting school a little bit later for any of those portions that they can do on their own time, whether it's asynchronous teaching where the teacher provides videos of themselves teaching or materials for the student to review or items for the student to complete, doing those things a little bit later in order to give your child an extra hour or 2 or even 3 of sleep. Some children get up really early, like 5 a.m. That's super early. And so doing those things would be helpful. Again, I recognize it's not going to be perfect. And you might also have a work schedule that you have to keep as an adult. Think about your biological needs. What do you need in order to be able to be present for work and also support your child to whatever extent is going to be necessary for your child to be successful? It might mean that both of you guys need breaks, and that during those breaks, it could be more than just physical activity. It can be a time where you guys reconnect and establish that social interaction, that caring relationship that the children aren't getting because they're all at home. So they're not getting it with their friends, or they're not establishing it with their teachers, things like that. And so stepping in at predetermined times to feel some of those biological needs will be very helpful to keeping your child going for however long we'll be doing schooling at home. It'll also be important to you because it's recognizing for yourself that you don't have to be a machine, you don't have to do all of this perfectly. Breaks are okay. Getting extra sleep is okay. Having snacks available, that's great. Like all of these things that just get the biological needs in place will maybe possibly eliminate a lot of the difficulties that are encountered whenever a kid is required to sit in front of the computer hours at a time. So really breaking up that time. If you're seeing from your next school year teacher, your child's teacher, that maybe it's going to be more synchronous learning, which means the teacher is teaching live to the child, then you might want to really find out what the schedule is going to be. How long will your child be expected to sit in front of a computer before they're allowed to have a break and totally divert their attention? I know from some of the therapists out there that I network with that for them specifically with younger kids, elementary age kids, it's really hard to keep them entertained if there's nobody in the room present physically with the child to keep them engaged on the computer. But if we kind of step back and we look at our values, is that really what we want? To be forcing children to work non-stop and doing things that maybe their attention is going to go up and down, up and down. And so I think at this point, even parents, of course, you guys know that. You guys have been mentioning that all along. And so at this point, it's about doing school in a way that helps the kid to get their biological needs met, giving them physical activity breaks. Again, Finland does 15 minutes out of every hour, and it seems to work really well, and they surpass just about everybody on stimulus testing. And so there are ways that you can do it, where you can be kind to yourself, you can acknowledge your physical needs, and you can help your child to be more productive in school. Some other things that you might consider is just pairing up maybe with one of your bubble families. For those of you out there who don't know, a bubble family is a family that you and your family have specifically decided to socially interact together. Maybe the children of both families are around the same age, the parents are friends, whatever it might be, and they agree to limit contact with other social events outside of those two families getting together in order to increase the safety of the children and the family members, the adult family members, and other people that the family might come in contact with, and also get that great social interaction piece. So as we're going into the school year, you might utilize bubble families in order to have parents support parents, becoming more of a community rather than thinking of your schooling as in isolation with your own family. This could be particularly helpful so that parents who are working can have uninterrupted time and be able to just get through their work day. I think it's also going to be very helpful after about the first month and a half. We usually call that the honeymoon period at the beginning of each school year, because everything's new, the teacher's new, the teacher has different rules, and I bet lots of teachers have come up with lots of different strategies over the summer to be able to engage their students. So all of that stuff will probably be pretty effective for the first little bit, but then kids just kind of lose interest once there's routine, there's no novelty going on. And so having a bubble family where the kids can kind of rotate what house they're at, maybe each parent just has a special way of doing something, like special snacks are at their house, or even just special games that you might play during activity breaks. This is going to be a great way to keep your child motivated each day to do their schooling. And so, yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Remember to sign up for Enilda Clinic learning videos at enildaclinic.com/learning. I have so many videos right now from experts, and I'm going to continue my next video chatting with more experts. I have a financial literacy type of author who's coming on, Tom Corley. He did research on rich habits versus poor habits, and he actually wrote a book about several books about how to teach your children to have a good financial mindset as they're growing up, to increase their successes of doing well in life, not just with money, but also with other things like your health wealth, your relationship wealth. It's a really amazing conversation. I'm also talking to a nutritionist, and she's going to be talking to us about how to get your kids to eat food, and also the mindset of parents with that. Additionally, I have a home organizer who's coming on, and she's going to talk about how to get your kids to clean their room. I have a couple of BCBAs, Board Certified Behavior Analysts, coming on, and we're going to talk about differential attention. And I smile because I feel like I say it in almost every single video I make, and so I'm so excited to have these experts coming on and really exemplifying what differential attention means and how it can help your child to be healthy and access adaptive behavior goals that you have for them. So yeah, guys, there's just so many things that you can learn and explore and see about child development, child behavior, child learning by getting on the email list. So go to enildaclinic.com/learning. You can sign up for the email list there, and you can get access to all the videos that are already out there. Whenever the new videos come out, you'll have first glance at it. You can also go to YouTube and you can hit subscribe there. All of this stuff helps me to be able to provide this free informational learning to families. And so I really want it to be a success. I really want it to grow so that I can be able to maintain it and figure out a way so that it's just self-propelling. And so please show your support by signing up for the email list, going to YouTube, hitting subscribe, hitting the like buttons that you see on my website and on YouTube. All of it is very, very helpful, guys. All right, everyone. I hope that your start to the school year is amazing and that it's way less stressful than the emergency at homeschooling we had to do last year. Hopefully things can be set up so that it'll be awesome. I have more tips coming your way on my social media accounts at Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, other things like that. And so maybe just Facebook or Instagram. If you can just like Enilda Clinic on there, you'll be able to get even more tips across this week about being flexible and setting up your schedule so that your child and you feel your best and are able to maintain that energy and motivation to get through the school year. All right, everybody, I'll see you later. Bye.